Hello and welcome back to WWE 2K20 Universe Mode, and we are finally here at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and kicking things off is our Royal Rumble winner, Ronda Rousey. She's going to be taking on Kairi Sane here tonight, and Ronda Rousey, of course, made her decision a couple of weeks ago, confronting the SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka. And tonight she goes up against Asuka's best friend, Kairi Sane, one-on-one, as Kairi Sane looks to put an end to the momentum of Ronda Rousey, as she has a clear path to the main event of WrestleMania, and facing off against the SmackDown Women's Champion. But can Kairi Sane put a big upset on the road to WrestleMania for Ronda Rousey? We will have to wait and see. But as you can see, Kairi Sane is accompanied tonight by the SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka. Asuka going to be keeping a very close eye on the action here tonight, wanting to see what it's like to be in the ring with Ronda Rousey. These two women, of course, have been on very different brands. Ronda's been on Raw this entire time, Asuka has been on SmackDown, and they've had both had a very good singles record so far in Universe Mode. Both been doing very well in terms of their singles matches. Got Ronda undefeated in singles contests here in Universe Mode so far, only losing out in a tag match and a fatal four-way match, but not taking the pin on either of those occasions. But Ronda Rousey looking to prove that she can take down Kairi Sane, and then she'll be able to take down Asuka at WrestleMania. And you see Ronda immediately distracted by Asuka at the outside, trying to make her point to Asuka, and allowing Kairi Sane to take a second, get an elbow to the gut. Let's try to take advantage of Ronda, but Ronda fighting back. Big Superman punch to the face of Kairi Sane. Because Ronda and Asuka on different brands, but they have been together in the ring just once, and that was back at Survivor Series. They were on opposite sides of that 4 vs 4 Survivor Series match, Raw versus SmackDown. Of course, Team Raw did manage to pick up the big win on that night, but Ronda and Asuka, not necessarily too much contact between them in that match, but they have never gone one-on-one. It's going to be fascinating to see how that happens at WrestleMania. Or if Asuka's still the champion going into WrestleMania, you never know. She could end up losing that championship on the road. We still have Fastlane coming up. Still have multiple episodes of SmackDown before we get to WrestleMania. And of course, as you're watching this video, make sure to give us a like, a subscribe, because you do not want to miss out on what is coming up in the future with WrestleMania and the rest of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. You don't want to miss out on that big Universal Championship main event that we will have on part 3 of Elimination Chamber. But the Universal Championship is on the line inside of that Elimination Chamber. Can Tommaso Ciampa hold on when he's in there with a very difficult competition? Wait a second, Ronda Rousey, Piper's Pit to Kairi Sane, now going for that pinfall, looking straight down at Asuka, but Kairi Sane managing to kick out at a 1. Because you can't forget that Kairi is of course a former SmackDown Women's Champion, the first SmackDown Women's Champion here in Universe Mode. So Ronda to pick up a big win over Kairi. It's also going to be a big signpost so that she can beat a former champion. Ronda's only had one singles championship match in Universe Mode so far, that being a fatal 4-way TLC match at TLC. But Ronda, of course, did come up short in that one. But that has been our only opportunity at singles gold here in Universe Mode. She has never had a one-on-one opportunity to get her hands on championship gold. It's always been someone else in the way. It'll be very interesting how that works out at WrestleMania for Ronda. Can she do it when it is just her in the ring with her opponent? Or can our opponent manage to hang on and break that armbar? Of course, Ronda has broken people's arms with, forced them to tap out. And now on the outside, you see Asuka very much carefully watching on as Ronda Rousey trying to get underneath Kairi Sane, but Kairi catching Ronda with a big clothesline, taking her down. Big fist to the face, and now getting Ronda back in the ring does Kairi Sane, looking to regain an advantage in this match after a bit of a rough beginning for Kairi Sane. Could have been worked over by Ronda Rousey in the early stages of this match. Now getting Ronda into the corner, taking her down to the mat, big kick to the back, and trying to keep up that pace to try and catch Ronda Rousey off guard. But Ronda was ready for Kairi Sane that time. Fireman's carry over the top, getting rid of Kairi Sane and now bringing her down to the mat, locking in that armbar. Is it going to be enough? Is Ronda going to force Kairi Sane to tap out right here? No, Kairi managing to maneuver herself, managing to maneuver out of the hole quickly enough before the damage could be done by Ronda. And Kairi back to her feet, but Ronda Rousey straight away again trying to get something in, but Kairi Sane manages to prevent the arm lock being locked in for a second time. And Kairi needs to take advantage of this opportunity, but Ronda using the ropes to get herself back to her feet. Kairi was perhaps looking for that insane elbow, but seeing that Ronda is back to her feet, already changing her mind. Deciding that she can't risk over something high risk like that right now. And they're getting Ronda back up to her feet, but Ronda reversing, throwing Kairi into the corner, trying to go for that big kick to the midsection, but Kairi Sane refusing, fighting back for her friend's honor right now. And again, the second time, no. I thought she was going to go for that armbar for a second, but instead just wrenching the left arm of Kairi Sane. And now locking in a submission, a crossface onto Kairi, just pulling at the chin of Kairi Sane, trying to wrench the neck. She doesn't want to win like that. She let go of the submission hold. She just wanted to work down Kairi Sane, and now that pinpoint accuracy on the arms of Kairi. And Kairi trying to fight back, trying to do all she can, hitting a huge Alabama slam. And now getting Ronda back up to her feet. But Kairi Sane in a bad way right now. Her arms are very much beaten to a pulp. All it's going to take is for Ronda to be able to get that submission in again. And here we go for a second time, that Piper's Pit. And Ronda now not going for the pin this time. Getting Kairi straight back up to her feet, and here we go. Locking it in, and it is in. There is no way that Kairi Sane can survive this. She is trying her hardest, but the damage to the arms is got to be too much for Kairi Sane to hold on to, and it is. Ronda Rousey tapping out Kairi Sane, getting a huge victory as she heads towards the WrestleMania main event for that SmackDown Women's Championship. You gotta think what Asuka is going to be thinking after seeing that. The destruction of her friend Kairi Sane here tonight. Being forced to tap out to that armbar from Ronda Rousey. What can Asuka do? What on earth could Asuka do to be able to put away someone like Rousey? An MMA fighter is not going to be an easy task in the slightest. To be able to put away someone like Ronda Rousey, it's going to be a hell of a task for Asuka. But first she has to focus on making it to WrestleMania. Can she hold on to her championship to WrestleMania? Will she go one-on-one with Ronda Rousey in the main event of WrestleMania? But next up we move on back to Monday Night Raw, and we are looking at the tag team division on Monday Night Raw. And now this may be a surprise to you, AJ Styles in the tag team division. Not typically where you see someone like AJ Styles, a former WWE champion, but this isn't really about the tag team gold. This is about revenge for AJ Styles and his partner here tonight, Sami Zayn. They want to be able to get revenge against AOP for what they have been doing, working with Kevin Owens, causing all of this harm to AJ and Sami Zayn. They want to take away what Kevin Owens has, and that is the tag team championships around his security team, AOP. So AJ Styles and Sami Zayn, two former WWE champions, teaming up here tonight to try and take away the gold from Kevin Owens' private security team, AOP. Of course, this is Sami Zayn's return to the ring in a proper match. Of course, he was in the Royal Rumble, giving a big old shock to Kevin Owens. Kevin thought it ended Sami Zayn's career back all the way just before Clash of Champions. He ended up injuring Sami Zayn, breaking the arm with the help of his private security team, AOP. But Sami Zayn returns in the Rumble, scaring Kevin Owens, and he has not really been seen since he had that one match with AJ Styles on Raw, and since then he has been avoiding Monday Night Raw. He has not been backstage. He does not want to deal with Sami Zayn. But his private security team, AOP, they are still here dealing with Kevin Owens' issues. And tonight they have a hell of a task. Can they take down two former WWE champions in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Who knows, but the big question here, is Sami Zayn ready to be back full time? Has he returned too soon? We don't know. We don't know. He hasn't had a proper match yet. The Royal Rumble, it's a very different environment. But when you're locked in a ring with two other people, I would be concerned for Sami Zayn. Has he returned? Did he return just because he wanted to get in the face of Kevin Owens to take an opportunity? Or did he actually heal properly? Has he returned with a fully healed arm? Well, this is going to be where we're going to find out. But AJ Styles starting things off, going up against Akam here tonight. And like I said, Kevin Owens not in the building here tonight. Nowhere to be seen since his match with AJ Styles on the Raw after the Royal Rumble. He has not been seen since, avoiding turning up backstage because he does not want to deal with all these issues and enemies that he has created for himself with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. His former best friend returning, looking for revenge against Kevin Owens after Kevin ended Sami's career for 6 months. Took away 6 months of Sami's career. You cannot blame Sami Zayn for being upset and angry at that. But AOP getting an early start here. Big tag team move here. A dual powerbomb to AJ Styles. And that is what the AOP needs to do. They need to isolate one of these men. That is the only way they stand a chance at that 2-on-1. But wait a second, AJ now getting the tag into Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, his first action in ring since having his arm injured, and straight away dropping an elbow drop onto Razor. I apologise. Can Sami Zayn's arm hold up? That is the question here tonight. Is he medically ready to be back in the ring? And he sure is taking it to Razor at the moment being, but we're going to have to see if he still has. Does he still have it compared to what he was like before? Of course, former Raw Tag Team Champion, former WWE Champion. Does Sami Zayn still have it? It's definitely the question here tonight. You also got to wonder about the any potential issues between AJ Styles and Sami Zayn here tonight. Of course, you go all the way back to Extreme Rules, and it was Sami Zayn who defeated AJ Styles for that WWE Championship. Of course, Sami only holding on to the championship for a month after Kevin Owens stole it from him, and then ended up losing the championship to Mr. Money in the Bank, Drew McIntyre. Because we will see Drew in action later tonight when he takes on Samoa Joe. A man who managed to put a loss on Drew McIntyre's record, one of very few men who has managed to do that. Because Drew is looking to make his way back to that WWE Championship that he wants to get back around his waist. But of course he has to deal with Sheamus if he wants that to happen, and Sheamus, well, he's made it very clear that he is never going to let Drew McIntyre have an opportunity at that WWE Championship ever again. Not even allowing him to have his rematch after losing the championship at TLC to Sheamus. And while Drew trying to right the wrongs that have happened to him since he's become involved with Sheamus. He was such a dominant champion, but then ends up losing a couple of matches, losing to Sheamus and then losing to Joe, really threw Drew McIntyre off, leading to him losing that WWE Championship, of course. But can Drew McIntyre get the win over Joe tonight and reclaim his place at the top of Monday Night Raw? Or will Joe continue this string of dominance that he's having recently, being able to turn his career around? Will he be able to tap out Drew McIntyre in the middle of the ring? Of course, we'll also be seeing the WWE Champion Sheamus in the main event of Part 1 of Elimination Chamber here. He will be taking on the Hall of Famer Edge in the main event of Part 1. Of course, this is after Sheamus's chance at greatness match at the Royal Rumble. He issued an open challenge to absolutely anyone on the roster whose name was not Drew McIntyre. Because it was the Royal Rumble, we had legends backstage, and it was Christian who answered the challenge of Sheamus on that night. Of course, Sheamus did end up continuing to hold the WWE Championship, and Christian came up to say some words to the crowd to say his thanks for supporting him after all this time. He thought he didn't have it anymore, but before Christian even got a word out, Sheamus came out brutally attacking Christian, multiple bro kicks to the face. But then the huge return. Edge made his big return, coming out spearing Sheamus. And now tonight, can Edge, in his first match back, win the WWE Championship from Sheamus just before we get to WrestleMania? That would be a hell of a victory if Edge can do it. Asuka managed to get the tag into Razor after being beaten down for quite a bit by AJ and Sami. But Sami now being able to take it to Razor, going up to the top, big body drop, but the knees up from Razor, preventing the damage from Sami Zayn. Oh, and the big push down, just showing the strength of the AOP, just pushing Sami down like he is nothing. With Sami ducking underneath the arm, managing to get behind Razor right now into the blue thunder bomb from Sami Zayn. 1, 2, no. Razor hanging on for dear life right now, and Sami Zayn, round he goes, showing some of his lucha skills that he has. A big drop kick there, so much height that he gets, twice in a row in the second time, taking down Razor. Sami Zayn has not lost a step. He has not lost a step, and the haluva kick in the corner. Is that enough? Has Sami Zayn won the Tag Team Championships? 2. No! Asuka breaking up the tag. AJ not being able to get there fast enough, but AJ just threw Asuka over the ropes. 1. Only a 1 count this time. Razor enough time to be able to get his senses back after that big bro kick to the face. And there you go, that's some of the tag team fundamentals that AJ and Sami don't necessarily have as a team at the moment being. With a big lariat there from Razor. Oh, so close, but Sami just being able to kick out after being knocked almost out cold by that huge lariat. And Sami trying to get that tag, but instead on the shoulder, planted down into the mat, but too close to the ropes, with the punishment being done right now by the AOP. But as I was saying before, the only issue with Sami and AJ, they don't necessarily have that tag team chemistry to know to break up, to try and get rid of one of the other people so they can't break up the pinfall. They don't necessarily have that skill of working together as a tag team. But wait a second, in the corner again, Sami Zayn telling him that it's over, telling him that it's all done. The second haluva kick straight to the face of Razor. Can Sami Zayn do it? Is that enough? 1, 2, 3. And Sami Zayn and AJ Styles are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. What a victory here tonight for AJ and Sami. And Sami Zayn now a 2-time Raw Tag Team Champion. But let's just hope that it goes better than last time for him. Of course, last time, well, Kevin Owens. We all know what happened with Kevin Owens. We're still feeling the implications of it today. Let's hope that AJ and Sami stay on the same team and they hold on to those Raw Tag Team Champions for quite a while as they take a shot at Kevin Owens, ripping away the gold from his private security team, AOP. And now we move on to Samoa Joe. This is going to be a big match here between two huge men. Going to really be a hoss fight between these two. Of course, like I said earlier, Samoa Joe and Drew McIntyre. This is all to do with Drew McIntyre's search to get back to the WWE Championship. Back before Hell in a Cell it was, Drew McIntyre ends up taking a pinfall loss to Sheamus in a tag team match, which he wasn't even supposed to be involved in the match, was Drew, but he wanted to defend Finn Balor after being attacked 2-on-1 by Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. Drew McIntyre came out to go and defend his challenger for the WWE Championship at the time, Finn Balor. And it ended up with Drew taking a pinfall loss from Sheamus, and since then, things haven't been going so well for Drew, let's be honest. He ends up going into Survivor Series, being pinned by Tommaso Ciampa in the WWE vs Universal Championship match. Of course, Sheamus did get involved in that contest, but Drew still ate another pin. And then he ends up losing to Samoa Joe, because Sheamus was at ringside for Drew's match with Samoa Joe on Monday Night Raw. and then he went on to lose the championship to Sheamus at TLC. And Drew tried to go through the Rumble to get his way back to Sheamus, but unfortunately Drew coming up short in the Royal Rumble, and now he is desperately trying to find another path to get to the WWE Championship, to get another match with Sheamus. And tonight Drew is looking to right the wrong of what happened a couple of months ago when he lost to Samoa Joe in the middle of the ring, when Samoa Joe managed to tap out Drew McIntyre. Of course, the big difference here tonight is there is no Sheamus at ringside. No Sheamus to be seen. Sheamus backstage warming up for his big championship defense later tonight against the returning Edge. Oh, big chops and slaps from Samoa Joe. Like I said, this is going to be a hoss fight between these two men. We've seen them go at it before, and these two men are just going to beat the hell out of each other, let's be honest. And Samoa Joe really taking it to Drew in the early beginnings of this match, really destroying Drew McIntyre. Oh, Saito suplex from Samoa Joe. And let's be honest, this is a very different Joe than we're used to seeing. A very dominant Samoa Joe. He started Universe Mode with a connection with AJ Styles in the club, but ultimately it didn't really work out for Samoa Joe. He ended up going his separate ways from the club and has not really been able to pick up the wins that he has needed. His win-loss record is not the best, but ever since picking up that win over Drew McIntyre back before TLC, well, things have been very different for Samoa Joe. He's been able to pick up some big wins. Very different ideology behind the eyes of Samoa Joe. You can just see the intensity that he has now, and he's been using that in his match to get big wins, get big opportunities. But can he get past Drew McIntyre again tonight? He knows he's done it once, and if Samoa Joe can do this again, well, you've got to expect he's going to have a big position at WrestleMania if he can manage to beat a former WWE champion in Drew McIntyre. But wait a second, Drew from the top rope. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Drew McIntyre not holding anything back in this match in the slightest. These two men are going to destroy each other right now. A big chop, you heard that reverberating around the entire arena. And now Drew showing the strength, just lifting Samoa Joe up like he is nothing. And the tides have turned right now. Joe was doing very well at the beginning of this match, but now Drew McIntyre fighting him back, trying to prevent Samoa Joe from being able to put him away here tonight. Drew needs to control the pace if he wants to win this, and I thought he was going to do it again. Thought he was going to do it for a second time, but the Uranagi from Samoa Joe into the pinfall. 1, 2, no. Very close from Joe with that huge Uranagi, taking down Drew McIntyre, catching him completely by surprise. Big slap to the face. Probably not the wisest idea. That's probably just gonna really annoy Drew McIntyre if you just slap him in the side of the face. Just gonna fire him up, and now Joe calling Drew out to his feet, and another running senton to this midsection of Drew McIntyre as Samoa Joe pulls him up to his feet, looking to lift up Drew for something, but Drew getting a punch into the gut of Samoa Joe, preventing it from happening. And now Drew looking to guide Samoa Joe over to those ropes. And wait a second. This is not something you see very often from Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. Oh my goodness, over the top he goes. Drew McIntyre not holding back in the slightest. You do not see Drew McIntyre doing something like that. You don't see many big men doing things like that. Just shows how much this means to Drew McIntyre. He's going to do anything he can to take down Samoa Joe. My goodness, what a match so far between these two men. But Drew McIntyre needs to get Joe back into the ring. He needs to continue to work down Joe, but Joe catching the leg, catching Drew into a big lariat attempt, taking Drew down into the mat, and now Samoa Joe looking to get Joe back into the ring. But Joe ends up being the one thrown in by Drew McIntyre. But Joe refusing to stop, just laying in punch after punch after punch, but Drew catching the punch, preventing it from happening again. He is guiding Samoa Joe back to those ropes, back to a position where Joe is not in control, but Joe overpowering Drew McIntyre, using his own weight against him to put him over the ropes, and then a belly to belly over the top rope to Drew McIntyre. That is not how Drew wanted that to work out. Wait a second, what is Joe thinking here? Wait a second, Joe, powerbomb, huge powerbomb into the pinning position. 1, 2, no, so close, but wait a second, not letting go, putting him straight into a Boston Crab after that powerbomb, just working over the back. He is so close to tapping. Drew McIntyre, hang on, can he get to the ropes? Can he break the hold? Samoa Joe wrenching right now, wrenching this Boston Crab after the work to the back of Drew McIntyre. But wait a second, he grabbed the leg of Joe, preventing Joe from being able to make him to tap. But Drew is just dead on the floor right now. And no, Samoa Joe calling for that Coquina clutch. This is going to be night time for Drew McIntyre. I cannot believe it. Joe, what a dominant performance from Samoa Joe here. These two men going at it like crazy, but Drew's got to be done. But no, Drew breaking the hold. Headbutt, Glasgow kiss, breaking the hold, hitting the nose of Samoa Joe. Samoa having to check whether his nose has been broken by the headbutt of Drew McIntyre. And Drew now not letting up, back to the leg of Samoa Joe, working down, punching the knee, trying to damage the leg of Joe. Getting a 2.9 count there over Samoa Joe, but I think Joe might have been playing possum a little bit, to be honest with you. And now another Glasgow kiss, straight to the nose of Samoa Joe, but a 1 count. Just a 1. What a match between these two men. Drew McIntyre, what can he do to put away Samoa Joe right now? He has given it everything. Another huge lariat to Samoa Joe. Gotta think the frustration of Drew McIntyre right now. The frustration that he has not been able to put away Samoa Joe. These two men just going for it right now, and Drew calling Joe up to his feet, and Joe slowly caught into the future shock DDT from Drew McIntyre. 1, 2, 3, and Drew has done it. Drew has picked up the win over Samoa Joe here tonight after a hell of a contest between those two men. What a hoss fight between those two men, really destroying each other. That Uranagi, Joe got so close to winning. That suicide dive from Drew McIntyre. Of course, Joe hitting that powerbomb, turning it into the Boston Crab. So close to getting Drew McIntyre to tap out and then straight into that Coquina clutch. And Drew was almost out. It took that Glasgow kiss to the nose of Samoa Joe. I can even think the nose might have been broken for a second, and Drew took advantage. Caught him with a future shock DDT. 1, 2, 3. What a win here tonight for Drew McIntyre, sending a message to the WWE Champion.
The following contest is scheduled,
of course, talking about the WWE Champion, it is time for our main event of the evening. It is going to be a Hall of Famer versus the WWE Champion, Sheamus. And here he is, after all this time, Edge making his huge return, his first match in 10 years. Can he do it? His first match back for the WWE Championship, getting revenge for his best friend Christian after Sheamus destroyed Christian. After that chance of greatness match at the Royal Rumble, which Christian answered, Christian just wanted to talk to the fans, say thank you, and potentially hanging up. I don't know what Christian was thinking, because we never got to hear it, because Sheamus, multiple bro kicks to Christian. But Edge was backstage and he had had enough. Coming out spearing Sheamus, and well, Sheamus accepted this challenge for the WWE Championship here tonight at the Elimination Chamber. We talked about Sami Zayn, whether Sami Zayn has still got it. And what he managed to do, he managed to pick up those Raw Tag Team Championships, but it's a very different story. 6 months, 10 years. It's been 10 years since Edge has had a match. Whereas Sheamus has been wrestling constantly. He has been wrestling week in, week out, building himself up to get that WWE Championship around his waist. And now Edge has returned. But does he still have it? Does he still have the skill set to be able to take down a champion such as Sheamus? I do not know. I do not know whether he has still got enough in the tank to be able to do this, but I'm sure he is going to give it everything that he has got here tonight. It could be his one and only opportunity to be able to get back to the top of the mountain, to claim that WWE Championship again. This could be the only chance that Edge will ever have. So he needs to take this very, very carefully, but give it all he's got to make sure that he doesn't injure himself any more than he already is, and to make sure that he can put away Sheamus and win that WWE Championship for himself, for his legacy, to prove that he can still go, that he still has it. And these two men starting off slowly at the beginning of this match, punches, but now Edge catching Sheamus with a big knee into a Russian leg sweep, taking down Sheamus. And Edge looking to control the momentum at the beginning of this match. Big DDT there to Sheamus from his knee. And now Edge trying to continue the momentum, but Sheamus preventing whatever Edge was going for there, catching Edge, getting him up, looking to slam him down. Of course, anything to the back, to the neck of Edge is scary, scary territory. So he was forced to retire after neck injuries. And Sheamus now beating down on Edge. He is not scared of re-injuring Edge, re-putting him into retirement. Sheamus is not a guy who's going to care about that. Realistically, he just wants to hold on to that WWE Championship. We know how much that means to him. He is the self-proclaimed greatest WWE Champion of all time. Despite only holding that championship for 2 months, Sheamus has already declared that he is the greatest that has ever been, and he will always be the greatest champion. So in his mind, he's got to think he's going to be holding on to that championship forever. And Edge tries to take advantage of Sheamus on the ropes, but Sheamus, big punch to the face, and now kicks to the midsection of Edge. And straight away back, mounting Edge, laying in those fists to the face of the Hall of Famer Edge. But Edge trying to fight back right now, catching Sheamus into a suplex, taking him down to the man. Sheamus wisely trying to get himself out of the ring once again. Quite a slow pace to start things off, but you've got to remember Edge has not wrestled in 10 years. This was always going to be a slightly unnervy start for Edge. He has to feel himself out, feel out Sheamus, feel out what it's going to be like to be back in the ring. And look at that big boot, how crisp that was. And now taking a page out of Sheamus's book, going on top of Sheamus himself and laying in those punches to the face of the Celtic Warrior, trying to go for that big boot again, but this time Sheamus reversing, getting behind Edge, preventing it from happening, and getting Edge out of the ring, knocking him over the top rope, punching him down to the mat on the outside. Dangerous place to be for Edge right now, thrown into that ring post. Not what you want to be if you're Edge. You want to keep this inside of the ring. That is the safest place to be. But Edge now catching Sheamus, throwing him into the barricade, laying in some punches onto the face of Sheamus, giving him nowhere to escape to. But Sheamus straight back to his feet, throwing Edge back into that ring post again, and smash head first into the ring post. And Sheamus breaking the count as Edge down on the mat on the outside in quite a lot of pain after going head first into that ring post 3 times. And Edge back in the ring just at a 3 count, catching Sheamus, down he goes. Is this what Edge needed? Is this the opportunity for Edge to be able to fight back into this match? Elbow to the back of the head of Sheamus, catching him dizzy, taking him down. Edge controlling the pace and Edge into the corner. Wait a second, he is calling him up for that spear. Is he going to hit it? Spear to Sheamus. And kicking him down to the mat. But Edge had it won. Edge had it won. He hit the spear, but Joe. What on earth is Samoa Joe doing out here? He just had the match against Drew McIntyre and now coming out here distracting Edge. Edge had this match won. He hit the spear on Sheamus. He was going to be able to pin him down, but now Sheamus fighting back. I can't believe this. Samoa Joe causing the distraction, allowing Sheamus to be able to get away with that spear from Edge. Samoa Joe now watching from the outside, looking very closely at Edge. And Joe's gone. Joe was just here to distract Edge. He just cost him the WWE Championship. You have to wonder why Samoa Joe did that. Did Sheamus pay Samoa Joe off, or was Samoa Joe just upset, angry. I don't know. Makes no sense to me why Samoa Joe would do that. But he has managed to save the WWE Championship for right now. And now Sheamus back on top of Edge, laying in the punches to the face of the Rated R Superstar. Not stopping. Again, on mounting Edge, laying in the punches. He is not giving up in the slightest. And a third time. This is just brutality from Sheamus right now. Absolute brutal from the Celtic Warrior. As he laid in those multiple punches. Just attacking Edge. But Edge, he refuses to give up. He refuses to give up. He knows he can do it. He's seen the glimmer of hope. He hit the spear. He had the opportunity to put away Sheamus. He just needs to find the opportunity again. And the rolling thunder from Sheamus. But of course, damaging the back of Edge even more, and Edge wisely having to roll out of the ring for a second. Get himself back. And now he's back in the ring, but Sheamus straight away, not letting Edge have a second. And down he goes with the white noise onto the neck of Edge, I should say. I apologise. And now Sheamus calling Edge up, calling him to his feet, and the bro kick to the face. Is that enough? Has Sheamus done it? 1, 2. Oh my goodness, Edge. No, Edge refusing. He refuses to lose like that. And now Edge back to his feet, catching Sheamus, taking him down to the mat. Big elbow to the back of the head of Sheamus. And Edge, he knows he can do it. He already had this match won. The big boot, but Sheamus avoiding the boot. Round behind from Sheamus, but Edge reversing, looking for that reverse DDT, but instead Sheamus fighting back. Big suplex from Sheamus to Edge. And Sheamus dropping that knee onto the face of Edge. He needs to do everything he can to prevent Edge from hitting another spear. Edge had this match won. I know I've said this multiple times, but he did. It's ridiculous. The Samoa Joe interfered in business, had nothing to do with him here tonight. But Edge, he is not giving up hope. He is kicked out of a bro kick. He has survived a white noise. He has survived a rolling thunder. All of these big moves, but Sheamus catching Edge as he went to the outside. Catching him with those double fists to the face. But Edge now, clothesline taking down Sheamus on the outside. Can Edge do this? Can Edge prove that he is deserving of being the WWE Champion once again? Can he do it here tonight for his friend Christian? And now getting revenge on Sheamus, throwing Sheamus face first into that ring post. Edge continuing to leave Sheamus on the outside, getting it to a 6 count. He needs to get Sheamus back into the ring. He will not win the championship on a count out. Champion's advantage will always reign in these matches. Up to an 8 count now. Sheamus back in the ring, but Edge down on the mat. Up to a 9. But Sheamus deciding to break the count right now. He wants to be the one to put away Edge. He doesn't want to win by a technicality. Sheamus chasing him down. Chasing down Edge, catching him, but Edge was ready for it. Reversing Sheamus, taking him down to the mat. And now Edge getting Sheamus back up to his feet. Taking him down once again. And Edge, where is he looking to go for here? Up to that second rope, calling Sheamus up to his feet. What is he thinking here? From that second rope. Huge spear from the second rope. Spear from the second rope from Edge. I think that caught Sheamus completely off guard. 1, 2. No! You got to think it's because Edge was so close to Sheamus there. He did not get that speed to really shoot that spear into the midsection of Sheamus. Instead, he had very, very little space. Really weakened the impact of that spear, but it was still so close to putting away Sheamus there. And Edge knows. He knows he can do it. He's fighting so hard right now. The big boot again, but Sheamus once again avoids it. Grabbing Edge from behind, lifting him up, slamming down into the mat. Bad place to be. And no, not again. Not again, to the neck. To the neck of Edge. The white noise right onto his neck. And now Sheamus calling Edge back to his feet. What is he thinking here? Throwing him into the corner. The referee down though. The referee down in the middle of the mat right now. Sheamus. He's calling for it again. The referee getting back up to his feet after that inadvertent knock from Edge. And can Edge avoid it? Can he avoid it? No! The second bro kick right to the face. 1, 2, 3, and Sheamus is still your WWE Champion. But what a match between these two. What a contest here tonight. Edge proving without a shadow of a doubt that he has still got it. He can still go. He had that match won. If it wasn't for Samoa Joe interfering in this, getting involved in business which doesn't concern him, we're going to have to wait and see for the outcome on Monday Night Raw. What is Edge going to have to say to Samoa Joe? What is next for Sheamus? Is he finally going to say yes to Drew McIntyre? We're going to have to wait and see. But for now, he is still your WWE Champion. Sheamus stands tall here tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like, subscribe so you do not miss out on part 2 and 3 of the Elimination Chamber. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.